So remember, we have one bill on our agenda this evening, which is House File 600. But before we take that up, we would need to amend the budget resolution in order to make sure that the bill is fully paid for in the next biennium. So the chair will move the third engrossment of House Budget Resolution titled Buzz Red 01-3 before the committee and offer the A1 amendment. This amendment reduces the budget reserves target for the biennium by 23.235 million and increases total authorized general fund spending by that same amount. The rest of the costs for House File 600 will be covered by the other bill's target, which has an additional 35 million available now that Senate File 1345 was referred back to the committee yesterday. Leader Winkler, did you have any comments on this amendment as it relates to your bill?
Madam Chair, I do not comment on the Ways and Means Committee. I leave this one to you, and I'll present my bill when that time comes.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from members before we vote on the amendment to the budget resolution?
Madam Chair.
Representative Albright.
Madam Chair, I'm looking at the spreadsheet as well as the budget resolution, and I'm wondering if you could, I heard what you said, but from my looking at it, we're moving 23.235 million from the budget reserve account.
Mm-hmm.
And then 35 million, we're defunding the SAFE Act and moving that money to House File 600. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's my doubt. Representative Leader Winkler.
Madam Chair and Representative Albright, that is the plan for funding this in the first biennium. Then the revenue from cannabis legalization picks up from there to replenish that money back into the budget reserve.
Representative Albright.
Madam Chair, I've sat on Ways and Means for a number of terms now, and the first thing that I would pose to you is just from a position of definition, the budget reserve account, from my recollection in terms past, has been utilized only if necessary in terms of rainy day, or in other terms as when I was vice chair, when there was an anomaly that was experienced by the revenue received into MMB in the Treasury for the benefit of the state in terms of keeping the float, if you will, for the state fairly consistent. But that being said, Madam Chair, I'm just wondering if you could explain to me, from your perspective, why this a change in the budget resolution is necessary to fund a bill that doesn't fit either one of those definitions under what has been custom and usage of the budget reserve.
Yes, Representative Albright. I understand and I do hear you that in the past, according to your tenure here in the legislature, that the budget resolution has not been increased or decreased in the way it has been done at this moment. But I think you and many other members know that House File 600 is a priority bill for our body. And in order to move it through the body, this is a process that we have to go through at this moment to allow the funding to be there. And so I believe it's a practice that can happen that allows me as chair to create this opportunity for that to happen. If Leader Winkler would like to add to that, he can, but that's where we are in this process at the moment.
Madam Chair, Representative Albright, the only other thing I would add is that as we are putting together the overall budget this session, the target for the budget reserve is also in play, along with this the spending in this bill. So while this change will move the target for the reserve in the House, it isn't changing the actual budget reserve. And that will be negotiated out and in the next, hopefully the next 10 days or so.
Representative Albright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple more questions, and they're more of clarification. So to Representative Winkler's perspective, then, we are changing the number on the budget reserve prior to having a global budgetary target agreement in place. So I just want to make sure that that is the understanding of the body as well. I make no per se judgment on that, but my other question would be, and I might have others, but with regard to the House File 445, you are relinquishing all financial opportunity for that bill, the SAFE Act, by 35 million to enable House File 600. Is that correct?
So you referenced House File 445. What we did, we brought back Senate File 1345, which I'm guessing is the companion bill to House File 445.
1354.
Yes, 1345. Yes, that would be correct.
And so right now with this resolution, it really comes down to what you and Representative Winkler said is you're choosing a new priority. You're choosing the House File 600 over the SAFE Act as a priority of your caucus going forward. I just wanted to lay that out there as an understanding of what this decision and this budget amendment does.
Yeah,
And
I'm sorry, go ahead, Representative Albright.
I'm sure that others will have questions, but Madam Chair, before it gets away from me and before I forget, I would request a roll call on the amendment to the budget resolution.
Yeah. Representative Albright, I wouldn't say that we're choosing to one over the other, but I would say that we are clearly funding cannabis and law enforcement through this money. That's what I can say that we are doing. Both are important to this body. But for now, this is how we're going to proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes. So do we have members? Maybe I need to open this up so I can see if there's any other questions. I have some more hands here. Representative Garofalo. Would you like to go first or last?
Madam Chair, sorry, I'm having problems with the microphone. Okay. So I'll go last, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative O'Neill.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to express my deep concern with this shift. So we are defunding the SAFE Act. The police officers have already been paid through their local municipalities, most likely, or the counties, whether it be city or county. I know in my county, they sent down several deputies. Many communities around Minneapolis and St. Paul sent down many deputies or police officers if they were from a city. And this, these officers have already been paid. Who is going to be short our cities and counties? So I don't really understand why we are defunding $35 million to refund our cities and our counties for responding to one of the most horrible, terrific, awful things that have ever happened to this state. I don't understand this. And then instead taking that money to fund legalizing marijuana. I don't understand what we're doing and why we're doing that. Is there some plan to replenish the $35 million, or is this just a priority saying it's not a priority? Because this is actually even a governor's priority. So I don't really understand what we're doing here and why we're taking $35 million away from our cities and our counties that responded in our time of need here in the state and saying that's not a priority, but legalizing marijuana is, because that's what we are doing with this vote. That is exactly what we're doing. I don't understand why. I do not agree with it. I think that we need to treat not only our law enforcement with better respect, but our cities and counties that sent their officers during our time of need. So I could not oppose this more, and I would ask our members here to please vote no on defunding the SAFE Act and instead funding legalization of marijuana here in the state of Minnesota.
Representative O'Neill, I am really excited to hear that you are supportive of the SAFE Act and all other members who are supportive of the SAFE Act. I'm like elated that you guys are aligned with that as a priority, because that is a priority of the DFL. And, you know, we did pass separate funding for law enforcement with the deficiency bill the other week, and plenty of money in other omnibus bills. That is, you know, this is not a if or, it is an and. And so, again, I'm just excited to know that you are supporting the SAFE Act. Representative Johnson. Representative Johnson.
Chair Moran, a lot of concerns as well. I've had a number of communities, counties, and cities outside Hennepin County bill. The creation was spearheaded by the state, and city or a county, for the project that went down to help out with security issues. We paid the state patrol. We paid the state of Ohio. We paid the state of Nebraska. We sent people here as well. We paid the conservationists and we funded the money in their accounts. But by removing the spending in the SAFE Act, you're saying basically screw you, every county and every city outside of Hennepin County and Ramsey County that came down. This is what we do. I can't oppose this any more strongly, because you're the rest of the state. We don't care about you. The property taxpayers are you're leaving it up to the property taxpayers in communities outside of that area that can't pay itself to the rest of Minnesota.
Representative Johnson, you have really bad reception.
Madam Chair, I think I had my hand up anyway before Representative Johnson, and maybe he'll get a better connection if I could.
Yeah, I saw you, Representative Liebling. Go
okay.
ahead.
All right, well, thank you, because Madam Chair, I was so glad to hear you make that statement, because I was sitting here racking my brains about this issue, because I remember voting for the SAFE Act. And I sort of remember that the Republicans did not vote for the SAFE Act. And I just hope that somebody could kind of remind me if that was the case. All of the support for the SAFE Act, I could have sworn that the bill did not pass the floor and that the Republicans did not vote for it. So I might need my memory refreshed here, that now there's all this support for the SAFE Act, apparently. And people are shocked that a bill that was not able to pass the floor, you know, the money that was allocated for it is now being allocated back into the pot. And I mean, money is fungible, right? It's not like dollars from this are marked in blue and come back to be marked in green. The money is money. And, but just in terms of budget targets to be able to fund the cannabis bill, which, by the way, is a very serious and important bill for the state. I'm really just very surprised that maybe somebody can refresh my memory, because I could have sworn I voted for the SAFE Act and that Republicans did not.
Yep. Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And, you know, there are several counties and cities that sent help to Minneapolis. My county was one of them. St. Louis County sent people. Olmsted County sent people. Brooklyn Park PD sent people. Ramsey County sent people. And we owe it to them to pay them back. And Representative Liebling, the reason we didn't put up the votes for the SAFE Act when you brought it to the floor originally is there were some gigantic poison pills in there that were anti-law enforcement, that were going to put our law enforcement officers in greater danger. So that is why we didn't support the policy part of that bill. But we obviously support reimbursing these counties and cities that sent their law enforcement to the aid, the much needed aid of Minneapolis. So members, this is sending a message to the public that passing legalized weed is more important than funding law enforcement. It's more important than public safety and making these local units of agencies of law enforcement whole again. So this should be a no-brainer for everybody, and everybody should be not supporting this amendment. I will be voting no. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, you're welcome, Representative Scott. Representative Albright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Representative Liebling, I think Olmsted County sent some folks up to help the people in Minneapolis as well. So I'm sure that you would want, as a supporter of law enforcement in your own community, that service rendered is compensated for. And to your point about that you are confused about the Republican caucus members supporting SAFE Act or supporting medical cannabis, the commercialization of cannabis, I think that's a play on words. I think what we're saying is that we're a bit surprised in terms of the focus of your caucus changing from time to time when the leader of your party has as one of his priorities the SAFE Act. So we're just a bit confused as well in terms of where your priorities stand. It's a bit, like you say, fungible, but I think sometimes your party and your caucus are starting to play with the budget as if it's monopoly money, and you can run around and collect your $200 and pass go as many times as you want. We have to be stewards of the dollars that have been provided to us by the taxpayers. With that said, choose your priorities. We're just trying to clarify for our understanding where you stand, not where we stand.
So okay, let's see here. And I do just want to remind members again, that we did fund law enforcement, right? We did that. We recognize that they showed up. But we also was it last week or two ago that we fund police officers, law enforcement. And so I just need to say that, but also say that, there was a tragedy that happened, right? There was a deep tragedy that happened, and that terrible thing that happened is that last year and the year before that and the year before that is the criminalization of Black men. That's the tragedy that we consistently see happen here in this state. And quite frankly, the passage of House File 600 will help with that criminalization that we see happen over and over and over. in this state. And so we can do both, and we have done both. We fund law enforcement. We took care of that. And now we're moving to also move forward to fund, to legalize marijuana and make sure that we can properly fund it. And so, Representative Mariani.
Well, Madam Chair and members, and I really did not want to get into this this debate, and I understand, that part of what we do up here, unfortunately, is to throw, rhetorical frames at each other and, one up each other. But, it's one thing to do that. It's another thing to make false claims about what is in a bill and what's not in a bill. We can agree and disagree about what those elements are, but to mischaracterize, for example, the SAFE Act as possessing anti-law enforcement provisions is just patently false. As a matter of fact, the bill that I amended, because I was the author of that bill, the bill that I amended on the floor of the House had the major law enforcement associations, the chiefs, the sheriffs, the rank and filers, encouraging folks to vote for it. They certainly had issues and questions about that. But one, they knew that we were going to amend it to a point where they can accept that for now. And two, it was critically important for them at that point in time for us to move a bill forward so that we can then meet the Senate that didn't have any of those provisions. So then we can do what a legislature does, which is we conferee the bills and we come to an accord. And even with that common sense approach, not a single Republican voted for that bill. The vast majority of the Democrats did. That's the truth. And all you got to do is look at the voting record, not listen to what we say here, but look at the voting record. And so, Madam Chair and members, I get it. We're going to have differences of opinions, but to falsely characterize the bills before us and the votes that we then take is just out of bounds. Let me just add as well that not too long ago, we came back and we did a deficiency funding. I authored that bill as well. Deficiency funding for state law enforcement expenses that were legitimate expenses relative to preparation to help keep the public safe. And let me just further add, because there seems to be this sort of, boogeyman characterization of Minneapolis. And I'm not a Minneapolitan, I'm a St. Paulite. And believe me, we wrestle with our cousins across the river pretty fiercely. But quite frankly, when there was a shooting out in Wright County, you all remember this. This is what, 6 weeks ago? One of the major and earliest responders to that shooting was Minneapolis. Minneapolis sent out its bomb squad, sent out investigators. They didn't even question doing that. And they did that in the midst of anxiety over what might occur at that point relative to the trial of Officer Chauvin, a police officer who murdered an African-American citizen. But even in the midst of that uncertainty, they sent help out to Wright County because it's the right thing to do. And finally, members, right now I'm conferencing the public safety judiciary bill with the Senate. We have the omnibus bill. And let me tell you, and you can go look at the bill, our majority passed out a bill that provides way much more funding for law enforcement than what the Senate does. It's a fact, by millions. We also have reform elements in that. And the reason we do that is because we believe you need to constantly do both. Our jobs, I would submit, is to constantly question and adjust our policy frames so that we can change systems so that we can better serve Minnesotans, better. serve Minnesotans. That doesn't mean we tear apart law enforcement. It doesn't mean we tear apart anything else. It means we expect it to better serve. And at the same time, because we honor that work and we know it's critically important, we make sure that we properly resource it. So, Madam Chair, I seriously did not want to say a word during this hearing. It's Friday, just had conference this morning. I just wanted to chill, listen to the debate on both sides, and then cast my votes. But I'm not going to stay quiet. Well, and I know that's game playing, but even in game playing, there are rules and there are bounds. And mischaracterizing the bill that I had on the floor of the House with the SAFE Act, the way we heard it mischaracterized here before was way out of bounds. Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
Thank you, Representative Mariani, and thank you for your work as chair of the Public Safety Committee and your commitment to looking at public safety through many different lenses of how we can protect the citizens in Minnesota. Really appreciate your work. Okay, we have Representative Albright, and then we're going to go to Representative Garofalo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Madam Chair. My question is for the fiscal staff. I just have a question with regard to the revised fiscal note. And under the fiscal note, as I would understand it, we're looking at in the biennium about a 61,396 outlay, but yet we're funding it, appropriating 58.235. Am I missing something in terms of the balancing between appropriation and expenditure? And I'm wondering someone could help me out with my my question.
Mr. Marks?
Madam Chair, I'm going to defer to Ms. Beckel on that. She's much more familiar with the fiscal note than I am.
Okay.
I believe she's on.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Yes, please proceed. Introduce yourself and then proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Solveig Beckel. I'm with House Fiscal Analysis. Yes, so there have been many versions of the spreadsheet, certainly. The committee administrator did post the most recent spreadsheet to the committee website, I believe, shortly before the committee began. But there are definitely revenues that are not mentioned in the bill because they are not explicitly stated, but they are from the revenue estimate that the Department of Revenue sent out. So there will be revenues from the cannabis gross receipts tax, as well as from the sales tax. And then we are seeing revenues, according to the fiscal note this time, from the Cannabis Management Board adult use license revenue, as well as some Department of Human Services federal financial participation. So if you look at that most recent spreadsheet, hopefully you can see where I hopefully got those numbers correct to come to the 58.235 million for the first biennium. Oh, thank you, Chris.
Representative Albright.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Okay, Representative Garofalo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if is Mr. Marks on the call, or
yes?
Okay.
Yes.
So, Mr. Marks, I want to make sure we're working off the BudRes 01-3-A1 budget resolution. And my question is that, as I'm looking at this on line 1.4, this is where we're increasing the overall amount of spending, and on line 1.5 is where we are reducing the allocation to the budget reserve. Is that correct?
Mr. Marks.
Madam Chair, Representative Garofalo, that is correct.
Thank you. And Madam Chair and Mr. Marks, in light of the fact that the omnibus bills have passed off of the House floor, outside of the SAFE Act, are there any other ways that this could be construed that the SAFE Act is being defunded? Is there for example, the capital investment bill is sitting out there. I think that has a target. Are there other areas outside of the SAFE Act that could be interpreted as being cut from this change?
Mr. Marks.
Madam Chair, Representative Garofalo, the capital expenditure bill is in Ways and Means. It has not passed out of Ways and Means, but there is a specific target for that bill in the resolution. And my understanding is that bill is within that target. So, and then I think the answer would be there are no other bills that I'm aware of. If you look at the spreadsheet, there is still a $505,000 amount sitting in the other bills area that is unallotted essentially at this point. It's down under the other bills. The last line says other bills 505,000, and that's not specifically allocated yet.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Mark. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mark, thank you for that. So I recognize that the change in the budget resolution today is being done. There's a reasonable debate to be had on whether to fund House File 600, but what has happened with this change in the budget resolution is that there is a reduction in the SAFE Act. And I just don't think that that is something that is something we should be supporting as a committee. So, Madam Chair, I'm going to move an amendment to your budget resolution amendment, and that amendment will be as follows, and I'll go slow here so that it doesn't, and nonpartisan staff can correct me if I do it wrong. But my amendment to the Bud Res 01-3-A10 amendment will be as follows. On page 1, line 4, delete 52,601,053,000 and replace it with 52,626,053,000. And then on page 1, line 5, delete 1,712,715,000. Excuse me, and replace that with 1,687,715,000. And the intent to nonpartisan staff, what I'm attempting to do is delete the cut for SAFE funding from the budget resolution, and instead take the funding for House File 600 and take it from the budget reserve. The effect of this will be that it will restore the SAFE Act funding, and nonpartisan staff can confirm or correct me if that is if I have verbalized my intent properly in terms of the numbers I've supplied.
Can someone from nonpartisan staff please repeat Representative Garofalo amendment or verbal amendment and ensure us that it is as he intended?
Madam Chair, I'm checking the numbers. If each number is changed by 35 million, it should be correct.
Oh, well then, Madam Chair, my numbers are wrong then because I did 25 million. so that first number, my apologies, I'll restate the numbers for you, Mr. Marks. So again, page 1, line 4, the 52,601,053,000 would be replaced with 52,636,053,000. And then page 1, line 5, the 1,712,715,000 would instead be replaced by 1,677,715,000. And that's the 35, not the 25.
Mr. Marks.
Madam Chair, that should work. That would increase total spending by 35 million above the proposed amount and increase or decrease the budget reserve by 35 million below the proposed amount.
And so, Madam Chair and Madam Chair and members. So we've heard some DFL members talking cute about how today they want to fund the SAFE Act and they're big supporters of it. And here you go. This restores the SAFE Act funding. We can get everyone in the committee to vote for it. We can finish this up, debate House File 600, and get out to a very nice day. And so I would ask members to support my amendment to the amendment, and I would request a roll call on that. Again, this amendment to the amendment simply restores the SAFE Act funding. Thank you.
Representative Garofalo, you know, that is like a significant amendment that you're making here. But because I like you, we're gonna move on this, right? We're going to move on this and vote on this. So if Mr. Marks can repeat that amendment so that we can take a vote on that, that would be nice.
Madam Chair, on the amendment on line 1.4, delete 5260105300 and insert 52636053000. And on page 1, line 5, delete the 1,712,715,000 and insert 1,677,715,000.
So that is the amendment to the amendment. Members, I will ask for a no vote. Ms. Sparkman, can you take the roll?
Chair Moran.
No.
Moran, no. Vice Chair Olson.
No.
Olson, no. Representative Garofalo.
Yes.
Garofalo, aye. Representative Albright.
Yes.
Albright, aye. Representative Becker-Finn.
No.
Becker-Finn, no. Representative Bernardi, excused. Representative Eklund.
No.
Eklund, no. Representative Hansen.
No.
Hansen, no. Representative Hassan. Representative Hassan. Representative Hertas.
Hertas, yes.
Hertas, aye. Representative Hornstein.
No.
Hornstein, no. Representative Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Representative Kresha.
Risha, aye.
Kresha, aye. Representative Liebling.
No.
Liebling, no. Representative Lilly.
Lily, no.
Lilly, no. Representative Mariani.
Ariani, no.
Mariani, no. Representative Marquardt, excused. Representative Miller.
Miller, aye.
Miller, aye. Representative Nash, excused. Representative Nelson.
No.
Nelson, no. Representative Noor.
No.
Noor, no. Representative O'Neill.
O'Neill, aye.
O'Neill, aye. Representative Pulowski.
Pulowski, no.
Pulowski, no. Representative Petersburg.
Petersburg, aye.
Petersburg, aye. Representative Pinto.
Pinto, no.
Pinto, no. Representative Schumacher.
Schumacher, aye.
Schumacher, aye. Representative Schultz.
Schultz, no.
Schultz, no. Representative Scott.
Scott, aye.
Scott, aye. Representative Sundin.
No.
Sundin, no. Representative Hassan.
Hassan, no.
Hassan, no. There are 10 ayes and 16 nays.
There have been 10 ayes and 16 nays. The motion does not prevail. So with that, seeing no further, Representative Garofalo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I recognize that we're going to be having a debate on House File 600 later, and there'll be a diversity of opinion on that. But what we're seeing is the DFL is deliberately targeting law enforcement funding to pay for that bill today. We just gave you a chance to use the budget resolution. There's plenty of resources available to fund both these items. And you guys specifically are targeting law enforcement funding for reductions. For that and other reasons, I'm urging members to vote no on this change. Thank you.
And again, we have funded law enforcement through the deficiency bill. So there have been no further discussion. The chair renews her motion to adopt the A-01 amendment to the budget resolution.
Madam Chair.
Representative Albright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did request a roll call.
For the A1 amendment.
Adoption of the amendment to the resolution.
Okay. All right. Ms. Sparkman, can you please take the roll?
Chair Moran.
This is to the A01 amendment. Yes.
Moran, aye. Vice Chair Olson.
Aye.
Olson, aye. Representative Garofalo.
No.
Garofalo, no. Representative Albright?
No.
Albright, no. Representative Becker-Finn?
Aye.
Becker-Finn, aye. Representative Bernardi, excused. Representative Eklund?
Aye.
Eklund, aye. Representative Hansen?
Aye.
Hansen, aye. Representative Hassan?
Hassan, aye.
Hassan, aye. Representative Hertas?
Hertas, no.
Hertas, no. Representative Hornstein?
Ornstein, aye.
Hornstein, aye. Representative Johnson?
No.
Johnson, no. Representative Kresha?
Krisha, no.
Kresha, no. Representative Liebling?
Aye.
Liebling, aye. Representative Lilly?
Lily, aye.
Lilly, aye. Representative Mariani?
Yada, yada, yada.
Mariani, aye. Representative Marquardt, excused. Representative Miller?
Miller, no.
Miller, no. Representative Nash, excused. Representative Nelson?
Aye.
Nelson, aye. Representative Noor?
No, aye.
Noor, aye. Representative O'Neill?
O'Neill, no.
O'Neill, no. Representative Pulowski?
Pulaski, aye.
Pulowski, aye. Representative Petersburg?
Petersburg, no.
Petersburg, no. Representative Pinto?
Pinto, aye.
Pinto, aye. Representative Schumacher?
Schumacher, no.
Schumacher, no. Representative Schultz?
Schultz, aye.
Schultz, aye. Representative Scott?
Scott, no.
Scott, no. Representative Sundin?
Aye.
Sundin, aye. There's 16 ayes and 10 nays.
There being 16 ayes and 10 nays, the A01 amendment is passed.